In this demo, I'm going to show you how to do an automated build using Developer Cloud Service. So you can see we're back in Developer Cloud Service, and I have a project that we created last week, Spring Project. That's what we're going to use. I'm going to select that. And then down here, you can see I've got a bunch of, most of this is about commits and stuff like that. Let's look at our Spring repo, our Git repository. You can see here I've committed and then I've pushed up to the cloud my Maven project. So our employee REST app project, which is built using Maven, is up here, and you need that as a baseline. I mean, that's basically your requirement to do an automated build, is you have to have something that a build tool can use. So a Maven project, we're using Maven 3. I have that here, so I can do an automated build. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my little menu here. I'm going to jump to build, and we're going to start working from there. So I'm going to go ahead and close that menu, and let's do a new job. And we're going to call this employee REST app build to differentiate it from other employee app stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And so I'm going to go through the process here, filling out the build job. I'm going to try to just show you what you need to fill out to get it to work. There are a ton of options in here and a lot of detail and stuff. So you can read up on that in the documentation if you wish. But what I'm going to focus on is just what I need to do here. So on the first page, I'm just going to select Java 8. I don't have any build parameters, so I'm not going to select that tab at all. So I'm going to go over here to source control. We do have source. Of course, we need that to build. So I select that, and for repositories, I select my repository and hit enter there. Now, at any point, that's all I really need to do for this, is just select my repository on this tab. I can hit save, and that jumps me up to the build page for this build job. So employee REST app build, this is the page. Notice here I have a configure button. I'm going to click that, and it's going to take me right back to where I was. So that's very useful. You can save as you go. So anyway, I don't need any triggers we will come back to. I don't think I have any environment variable related stuff or environment stuff I have to set up. I think this is general environment stuff. But I'm interested in build steps though, so let me go ahead and do that. And I'm going to invoke Maven 3. Notice there is, once again, a ton of information here. I'm going to jump back up to the top. I know from my goals what I've been using, we're not using install, we're just using package for our example. And then here, so this is very important. For the automated builds to work, it has to be able to find your project and mainly your project configuration file. So in our case, we put this in a subdirectory. So employee REST app is the name of the directory, and then there's the POM. So I have to type that in or this will fail. My build will fail. I don't think I need to change anything else from the default, so I think we're good. You can see down here at the bottom there's JVM options if I wanted to set those for some reason. So that sets up my build. And then post-build, I want to save my artifacts. Once again, we got a bunch of stuff we can do. Publish JUnit test results. There's a lot of things, once again. But for this, I'm mainly interested in my artifacts. And it takes a special syntax for that. So I want star star dot star. Star star slash star dot jar. Then I separate it with a comma. So then we're going to do star star slash star dot zip. And I think just for funsies, I'm going to do star star slash star dot car dot gz. So I have specified 3 file types that I want saved after the build is complete. And so we would need those if we're going to do an automated deploy. We actually need artifacts to deploy. This would create them and store them so that they're ready to go for later. Notice here I'm going to choose this option to discard all but the latest successful builds, so I don't fill up my disk space with old builds. And then compression type, we don't want to, they're already compressed, so we don't want to do that. So if we gzipped our result, that would not be good. In this case, for us, that would be a problem. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save that. So we are ready to do an automated build at this point. But the last thing I want to cover is to truly automate it, we have to enable a trigger. So the trigger is like an event that will fire off this build job. So if you want to truly automate it, you have to select some option in here. One typical one would be if another job's built, you select another job, pick it by name, and then if that's built, then this one's built. But what we're interested in is I'm going to just do it based on the polling schedule, which basically is telling the system if there's a git, if somebody does a push and updates the source files, the project, doing in git, then fire off a build. So that's what this option does. You can, basically it just looks for a change and it'll fire off the build. You can have set up more detailed options if you want, but for our purposes, just checking the box should be enough. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Our build job should be set up and we should be ready to build, but we're going to do that in another demo. So that completes this demo.